Pakistani civil servant of the Pakistan Administrative Service who served at the top bureaucratic offices. Mr. Lashari is best known for his 5-year stint as chairman of the Capital Development Authority. After retirement, Mr. Lashari served as the Director General of the Walled City of Lahore Authority. I request you, sir, to please take your seat at the stage. I now request speakers of the session, Mr. San Lashari, Mr. Imran Shaukat, and Mr. Kaisar Rafiq, to please come on the stage. I now hand the floor over to the chair for the session.
Achha ji, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So we begin with this session, which is promoting tourism, and I believe its focus is upon the Gandhara civilization's tourism. So am I audible? Achha. So we have a panel of 3 eminent people sitting here who in their own way have been great asset to the tourism promotion in Pakistan. But before I talk about them, I must pay my heartfelt compliment to the organizers of this wonderful symposium. So this symposium is very heartwarming. I'm absolutely, impressed to see the way it has been arranged, and the scale and the standard and the way the people have participated, and particularly more than half a dozen countries, very eminent monks and scholars coming around. This is absolutely a wonderful thing to see in our capital city. So my congratulations to Suhail Saab, to you, the Director General of the Strategic Studies, Tala Saab, and all these organizers, and of course Samad Saab, the Archaeology and Museum in charge of the KP. So here we have with us Dr. Kaisar Rafiq at the extreme end. So I will introduce turn by turn. And Dr. Kaisar Rafiq, I know him personally also. I'm myself Kamran Lashari, Director General of the Walled City Lahore Authority. And in that capacity, which I hold for the last 10 years now, we have come across each other and worked in a kind of partnership for the last 4 to 5 years. Dr. Kaisar Saab, I was very amazed to understand that he's the pioneer, he's the one who has launched a television network dedicated to the tourism in Pakistan. This may be the first and the only kind. And the kind of picture quality that you see and the camera work on his, I almost said it was like the Discovery Channel of the international level or something like that, So it's really very, very happy thing to all those who haven't seen as yet must get hooked on to it. And so he's promoted Pakistan's image nationally and internationally through a great work on Discovery Channel. So Dr. Saab, let me ask you what really motivated you to get into this very unconventional field in a country like Pakistan, to dedicate a channel. मैंने एक दफ़ा किसी से पूछा जी आप कल्चर पे क्यों नहीं चैनल जो है अपना dedicate करते, तो the reply I got from the owner of the channel was, who will watch it? It won't make a commercial proposition. So how do you make it feasible, and how do you think this can have a connectivity and relevance to the kind of things that this particular Gandhara civilization we are wanting to promote?
Sir, thank you very much, first of all, and thank you very much to the audience and the organizers. You asked me a question about the inspiration and what was the motivation. Just a few days ago, I was in one of the university and one of the students has asked me the same thing. And I just told them a brief story about it. I was in Vienna, Austria, and representing Dubai government. I was the advisor to the ruler of Dubai. And when I finished my speech there, one of the businessmen, he's leading country's businessman in the petroleum sector, he asked me, he just looked me upon internet, on LinkedIn especially, and he asked me, Dr. Kaiser, you are from Pakistan. I said, yes, I'm very proud Pakistani. He said, I want to ask you a question. I said, sure, please do. His question was that, do you guys have cars in your country? So that was that kicking point when I said we really need to show the world what we really got. So that was really one thing, because actually it's so unfortunate that we are enjoying, or you can say we are just stuck with bad perception.
Yeah.
And in today's world, the perception is everything. Reality means nothing. So that was actually the reason, or many say the last time when we talked about the business model and who would watch. I would like to state my numbers, and these numbers are provided by the PEMRA, documented numbers. Last month, we were watched in Pakistan on a daily average base, 47 million people per day they have watched. This is the documented document. So this is how much the people like to see a beautiful Pakistan, a positive Pakistan. So it's just, again, a wrong perception that people only want to see the negativity, or people only want to see the news. So this is also a wrong perception. And
okay. Yeah, please.
Sir, just one more thing. What I would like to say is we watch live our stream throughout the globe. I was surprised to see that my average daily watch list from other countries, only Germans, they watch 100,000 Germans per day on an average base. They watch Discover Pakistan. So that means really...
so what are your plans with regards to the projection of the Gandhara civilization? Actually, the way I understand, Pakistan represents two civilizations and two religions. One is the civilization of Indus, and the other is the Taxila civilization, the Gandhara civilization. And religion-wise, one is a Sikhs and one is the Buddhist. This is a ready-made kind of platform or basis to pick up tourism for Pakistan. So what is, you think, holding us from not realizing its full potential? I mean, a symposium like this is a wonderful thing. I'm sure it's going to make a huge impact, but one odd may still not be good enough. So I hope this continues. That's what Suhail Saab was also mentioning, that we want. But we want to take you on this. What would you like to suggest to the people and the organizers? How can this be augmented?
Well, if we are talking about, since we are talking about Gandhara, so we are talking about Buddhist religious tourism, which is related to that. There are 39 sites all over Pakistan, which are very prominent sites of Buddhism, the religious sites. But if you go a little bit even over that, you would see, as per our research, there are more than 600 gurdwaras in Pakistan. We might just know 5, 6. We have started a program named Sat Sri Akal Pakistan. So far, we have done 42 gurdwaras so far. And they are getting response, like amazing response from all over the world. Similarly, we have started a series on churches of Pakistan, with the name of Churches of Pakistan actually. We have more than 200 churches, and some churches they are so beautiful, their architecture, their history, their buildings, and the people who are linked with it, they are really, really ancient buildings. And we received calls from Rome, from various part of the world. They said, this is like very identical church to our church. So people are seeing that. Similarly, we have more than 200 Hindu temples. So we have so many assets in our country, the religious assets, if we talk about. So we just need to package.
We are more interested in prescription than description. So please, if you can provide something on that account, that will be good.
Absolutely, coming to that. So what we need to do is, I believe, the first thing is, whenever we talk about tourism, tourism is 33% as per my experience with the tourism. Tourism is 33% is the site, location, or whatever you have. 33% is the story around. We need to build the story of tourism, of Buddhism, of Gandhara. We need to build the story. We need to rewrite the story. And the third thing is the packaging. Again, the packaging and marketing. 33% is always goes to packaging and marketing. So if we do it all together, then only we can bring the world to Pakistan, inshallah.
Good, thank you. Now coming to you, Shan.
To your last point, I'd like to add to your question, which is, I think, the most important question that we have to ask at this synopsium. I think the first and foremost important thing, if you want to promote tourism, is a visa. And that is something that is the start of everything. If the visa process is easy and if it is well known, the organizing, one of the people, Imran Gondal, who's in the organizing committee of this synopsium, a wonderful thing that he did with the Sikh tourism was that there was one body that used to give you invitation letter, and all you had to do was attach it to your e-visa application and you got a guaranteed visa. So that was something that was very wonderful. My company, Luxus Tours, specializes in religious tourism or spiritual tourism, and we've done hundreds of yatras for Sikhs. And I think that the turning point in Luxus Tours being able to do religious tourism was that one window operation where they gave us or the tourists that wanted to come an invitation letter, and they used to get the visa just like that. So I think the first thing that we need to focus on is making sure everybody gets the visa within a reasonable time frame and they know how to get it.
Before I come to you, here we are with you, Imran Shaukat Saab, who is advisor and the Sustainable Development Policy Institute, and has worked a great deal with the subject of Gandhara. I've also seen a wonderful publication by the, I think, Director of Archaeology, Samad Saab, and all of you may have contributed, but that's actually one of the most impressive publication, a coffee table book that I have come across. So my compliments to you, Samad, and then promoting Gandhara in such an authentic way, impressive way. It's very, very good. And we have seen in the last couple of years some good steps having been taken and a very encouraging response from our friends, from the Buddhist friends, and very high-ranking Buddhist friends coming from different parts of the world to Pakistan. How do you look at it, and do you find it promising and persisting and building upon it? It's a sustainable thing, or you think we have to do much more to get it done?
If you give me a brief,
please.
If you give me the permission, may I stand up and speak for a little bit?
By all means.
talk this way. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, the venerable monks, excellencies. It really has been a wonderful day of sessions and discussions. And let me see how I can contribute a little bit more towards that. And that will actually answer many of the questions that Lashari Saab was posing right now. And in my talk, I'm going to try to cover three topics. One is what I and the partners have practically done to promote the Pakistan and its heritage. Number two, what is the gorilla in the room that prevents Pakistan from reaching its potential? And number three, what do we need to do to move forward? Since time is very short, please indulge me. I'll try to speak fast. And I may go a little bit over 10 minutes, but it won't be much more than that. So what we have done so far, in 2016, our ambassador in Thailand, and my home is Thailand, Islamabad, or Washington, D.C., the then ambassador in Thailand asked me to engage with him and the embassy to promote Pakistan-Thailand ties. And it just so happened that our current DG of ISSI, Sohail Mahmood, who had been the ambassador prior to that, had set up a Pakistan corner at their most prestigious university. So using that as a launching pad, we embarked on a program of activities which actually are highlighted in the newsletter that is going around. In the last 5 years, we have done about 50 activities. There's an activity almost every quarter trying to bring Thais and Pakistan together. That entails cultural exchanges, academic exchanges, facilitating monks to come from Thailand, and many, many other things. In this process, as the people were coming, books have been written on Gandhara by Thai monks. Movies, documentaries have been published, distributed in Thailand and the world, which is The Man of Gandhara. Onwards to Gandhara, another book that has been published. So all these things have taken place. What has happened is that in the last few years, there has been a tenfold increase in tourists coming from Thailand to Pakistan. Because as we talk about perceptions, when a Thai sees a venerable monk like he is, and when they see them sitting in Pakistan, the whole perception of, oh, it's an insecure place, and they go, what insecurity? If our there, what's the problem? So, and another way to promote Pakistan has been the publication of a coffee table book, Colors of Pakistan Through the Eyes of the Diplomats. And these are pictures submitted by 40 ambassadors of Pakistan. That has been turned into a coffee table book. And me and my partner, Ellie Takagaki, she's hiding back there, we have published this book, and it has turned into a wonderful piece for diplomats to share with their own countries. Now, what is preventing tourists from coming to Pakistan? It's already been mentioned, bad perception about Pakistan. And we continue to reinforce that. We never negate and present the facts. In 5 facts, I'll be able to prove to you Pakistan is perfectly fine. Pakistan is perfectly safe. And I also speak that as a former US diplomat. I've lived in 5 continents, visited 70 countries. Pakistan is actually one of the safest places. And everybody will say, well, how's that possible? Yes, we have problems, but it's a big country. It's the 5th largest country, 250 million people. So yes, does an occasional stabbing, kidnapping, what have you takes place? Yes, it does. Not only are we the 5th largest country, we are going to be the 3rd largest country of the world in 2050. And a population of 400 million. I always present to the world, Pakistan actually is the future. You're talking about a country in 2050, which will be the 15th largest economy of the world at 4.2 trillion. You guys know at that point, when we become 4.2 trillion, we will be at par with Saudi Arabia at that time, UK, France. So we will be in that particular league of nations. Now we talk about safety standards. If you look at the crime statistics that came out in 2023, France was 36th unsafest country. USA was number 55, Australia 76, Pakistan was ranked at 86. 86 out of 146 countries. So in all the big civilized world, Pakistan actually is ranked as the safest country with the least amount of crime. Homicide per capita is higher in Thailand. Russia is 53, USA is 56, Pakistan is 81. Again, in homicide too, we are way down. And finally, we talk about terrorism. Pakistan is experiencing this year, which has been a significantly bad year sometimes, we do about 4 to 5 incidents per month of targeted killing. USA, my other home, they're doing 50 a month. Now people will say, well, USA is a big country. No, it's not. USA is, we are 250 million, they are 320 million. So we are more than 2/3 the size of the US. So comparatively speaking, Pakistan is a very safe country compared to other countries within our own league. And now the final point, the vision and potential for the future. I think our minister spoke about it. Many audience members have spoken about it. There are 500 million Buddhists in the world. And I've presented a vision to the government and some powers that be. I said, look, conferences and all these things are important. They're one small part of it. There is a 10-step process for us to create a vibrant sector. It will take us 10 years. And at that point in 10 years, if out of 500 million people in 10 years we have enticed 1% of those people to come to Pakistan, which is 5 million people, that turns into a $20 billion sector at the current day prices. It is more than $50 billion.
I'm sorry,
at that
but
point.
we will have to rotate the time.
Yes. Actually, so what I'm going to actually do is quickly streamline the visa regime. Monks and faith-based leaders, they are the ones who are our gateway to the rest of the Buddhist community. As we are doing, we need to bring them. Streamline the NOC regime for the ambassadors. They cannot allow their countrymen to come here if they're not allowed to roam around freely. Aggressive marketing of Pakistan with facts and figures, organizing tour operators, B2B. Let's get honorable tour operators together with their other friends, sensitizing the local population, and they need to get economic advantage out of it. Otherwise, we have serious problems. Organizing the sites and the infrastructure, coordinating financing and investment through BOI, donor coordination cell to be set up. Donors have the money to support us. But finally, to do all this and create a huge sector, we need to set something up along the lines of the Wall City Authority so that there is an institution that can focus and make it happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Imran Saab. Professor Ruth Young, she is Professor of Archaeology, University of Leicester, UK, and a PhD archaeological work on Gandhara. So that's absolutely a great combo. Shall I shoot you one question, which keep occurring to me? I tried to compare Pakistan with Egypt, and I'm still seeking a right answer. You see, we are both one of the oldest civilizations of the world, and both very Muslim countries, in a way, Orthodox Muslim countries. And yet the Egyptians have owned up their civilization pre-Islamic, like pharaohs, the mummies, and the temples and gods and goddesses, and owned them up not only in some cupboard or in some museum, but it's all over. The moment you step down at the airport, at each shop, you see. Why is it so that Pakistan hasn't measured up? How would you look at it, at its past history, and taken as much owning up, despite that both are Muslim countries?
Thank you. I think that's a very interesting question and very, very pertinent, actually. I think that there is no easy answer to that. I don't think there's a quick and simple answer that I can give you today. I do think it's a lot about how the world stage sees the past. And we all think of Egypt as a very old country with the pyramids and with mummies, just as we think of somewhere like Babylon as a very old part of an old civilization with the mythical Hanging Gardens. And also, that's another good example. Iraq, of course, is a modern Islamic country with a past that is perhaps better known than that of Pakistan. And I have to say, having come to Pakistan regularly for the last 30 years or so, and I teach the inter-civilization and I teach Buddhist archaeology in the UK, that it, to me, is a great, it's a great crime, it's a great tragedy that the heritage and history of Pakistan, uniquely Pakistan, is not better known. But to come to sort of possible solutions, and I think an area in tourism and heritage that's really, really important has been touched on just very briefly today.
Could you keep your mic closer?
Okay.
दूसरी मेरी request उधर होगी.
Yep. Is,
Professor, हम इधर सेमिनार कर रहे हैं, आप जरा आवाज जो है वहाँ पर.
okay. Is that of community engagement. Now, those of you who know Dr. Samad, the Director of Archaeology and Museums, he's done a lot of work with local communities around archaeology and heritage. And I think just as all of you and so many people we've heard from today are doing their utmost to promote archaeology and heritage outside Pakistan, including with monks from many different parts of South Asia and East Asia, it's also really important to engage with local communities because they are the people who belong to the place of the heritage sites. They are the people who will protect it or not protect it in times of need. And it's incredibly important, I think, to take communities with you on any journey around heritage and tourism, particularly around tourism, because local communities will be invaded by tourists. You know, they will have tourists come, they will have tourists stay, hopefully in local hotels, use local restaurants, and I think that that is a key part to developing tourism and the knowledge of Gandhara.
Thank you. Well, Kaisar Sahab, I'm going to ask you, sometimes it seems that the issue with Pakistan is not only perception, which of course is a big issue, but the perception of us about ourselves is a bigger issue. In the sense, people want to come, at least some of them, but I'm not sure whether we are wanting them to come. So, are we really serious to have people come? They may be Sikhs or they may be our Buddhist friends or others, because we have seen a huge input of the government in the shape of Kartarpur, but I'm not very sure where it has come to in the terms of tourism. So, what's the real issue? I think, on the one side, I may tend to agree with facts and figure. Imran Sahib has spoken that how safe is Pakistan. Compared to other countries, it's more of perception issue. And yet the Pakistan regime wouldn't itself make it easy. Everywhere somebody with a bayonet or a gun stands and guards and salutes and runs up. So we have blown it too far ourselves. There could be a discreet and a soft way to create security. We don't have to show it off all the time in a very crude manner. So one is we create that image ourselves and then make it so difficult a process for people to reach us and come here. They think there must be something terrible, the security alarms on us. How would you respond?
Well, we really wish to, but in some ways we are not prepared for the tourists yet. We really need to work on that. Infrastructure issues are really there. We need to...
I'm not talking enough, please don't sidetrack. There's another kind of infrastructure I'm talking about.
Okay.
So you see, people go in Africa where there is not a road even.
You are right, absolutely, you are right.
It's not the infrastructure. And
well, we did talk about perception already, that do exist, but at the same time, when I see people here, when they come to Pakistan, we don't have an issue here. We are the most hospitable people. If you see the data of couch surfing community, there are more than 300 to 400, which I'm always connected with them. I take their comments and all. The foreigners are coming through them only through this community, couch surfing community. They are coming to Pakistan. But once the people come to Pakistan, they have no issue here at all. I spoke to recently we have done a program with the Japanese ambassador. What he said was, when I was appointed here in Pakistan, I received so many calls from my family members that you're going to Pakistan, try not to go. But once he's here, he called us and he said, I feel so much safe and I want to do a program with your host. And we have done a program, it's on YouTube and was on our channel as well. So I don't think really we have an issue once the people come to Pakistan and once they meet people, there's no issue here. The issue is bringing people here to Pakistan. That's where the issue lies.
Anyways, thank you. So I think partly, if not more, we have overhyped the security issue ourselves. We are to be blamed for that than the perception outside. So people I know, professors of Aga Khan Trust with whom I work, and consultants wanting to come to the walled city, they don't find visa for 4 months. And then they're given visa. I talk to Secretary Interior, then somewhere I get stopped because I can't go all the way. And they get a visa for 1 week or 2 weeks. So,
but that's experience is with the officials. But the common people, when they are coming here, they don't have that issue at all.
Okay.
They do come, they roam around everywhere.
Okay, good. I love that positivity.
Absolutely, that's
so,
really true.
So, Shan, you have been conducting the Sikh tourism, I believe, and you've spoken about the visa, but what other measures you think need to be relaxed or organized or facilitated so that the Gandhara tourism can take off?
I think more than perception, one important thing is clarity of messaging. For example, if you want to visit all the relics, all the artifacts, and all the religious sites that Buddhists have, you just need to be in Pakistan for 5 days, and you will not be driving for more than 5 hours from Islamabad any of those 5 days. So that is something that's a luxury, I would feel, because if you want to visit sites, religious sites, anywhere in the world or any other tourist attractions in the world, sometimes you have to travel really far from the main city to go and see that. And then that becomes kind of a negative utility of seeing that tourist attraction. Whereas here, Taxila is about 46 minutes away, and now that the Sawat motorway has been made, which used to take 9 hours to go there, now it only takes 5. I'll just share an incident. I was in Skardu about a week ago. Actually, I came back yesterday. So about a week ago, I landed in Skardu, and that day it was extraordinarily busy on the airport, and the driver couldn't find a parking inside the airport. And I was saying, where are you? I'm trying to find you. And he said, you have to walk outside of the airport. And I was a bit annoyed that why weren't you there to pick me up? And he said, do you know that today 5 flights landed at Skardu airport at that 7,000 feet height? And he says that there was a time that 1 flight would land in a week, and now 5 flights are landing in a day. So I feel that these kind of things need to be promoted. When I'm working with Sikhs, I have to send them pictures of the motorway. I have to send them pictures of malls. I have to send them pictures of everything, show them videos, because the first timers, people who come to Pakistan for the first time, they're the hardest to convince to come here. And sometimes there have been Sikhs from California who I've been on the phone with for a couple of hours, 1 a.m. in the night, just trying to convince them that please do come, somebody will pick you up at the airport. We drive cars, we do not travel by camels. I mean, all of those things, I have to convince them. And once they come, the thing that you said, I make sure they travel through the best roads. I make sure, for example, if they come by Wagah border, I first take them on the ring road and then bring them to the hotel, rather than taking them through the Neher or the canal road. Because, like you said, we have to put our best foot forward. We have to be proud of whatever we have. And the thing with us is that we're very quick to judge our own country and criticize it and everything. But I think we should look at Pakistan like we look at our sons or daughters. They may have flaws and weaknesses, and they may be challenged in certain aspects of life. But we cherish their beauty, we cherish their strengths, and we're proud of them, irrespective. And that is the attitude we need to have towards our country, that we need to be proud of it. In Urdu, जिसको कहते हैं जैसा भी है अब मेरा है, so we should be proud of it.
So good. Coming to you, Ruth, what measures you think some kind of proactive measures should be taken? I think this symposium itself is one of those rare proactive measures. Instead of waiting for people to come and Buddhists to come, how can we connect them and create that synergy, connectivity, and something which gets into a cycle or a system, and create that narrative or stories. For instance, the first university in the world. Now that's quite a statement. The first grammar text by Panini from there. The Chanakya or Kautilya coming up with Arthashastra. Machiavelli has come after, I think, more than 1,000 or 2,000 years of Kautilya, who gave us the book on statesmanship. So these are things also to be highlighted. And how would you like to couch it or present it if we have to do that?
Again, I think that's a very interesting and good question. I do think that the people-to-people connection is very, very important. I think that's one of the most important things that you can have as a country. And I think that symposia like this are a very good way of inviting people in, making sure that they do feel safe, that it's easy for them to get their visas, and then that they feel welcome and they see all of these great things about Pakistan. So definitely person-to-person connection. But I do also think that there is more that Pakistan can probably do to promote itself externally. I think that you already do a lot, and I think that there is so much to be proud of. You're absolutely right there. But to promote Pakistan, to let people know about these wonderful narratives, that there is the first university, that there is one of the oldest and the biggest civilizations in the world, that there is religious pluralism and tolerance and a huge respect for different religions and heritage sites of multiple religions. You know, we all know about Gandhara Buddhism here today, but there's also Sikh sites and the Sikh pilgrimages, there are Hindu sites, there's Christian sites. You know, there are so many fantastic sites that can appeal to so many different parts of the world, different ethnicities, different religions, and I think it's telling these stories, getting them out there in effective ways. And I guess, you know, I'm a bit too old for social media, but I think social media obviously is a great way of doing this and getting to audiences like the German market. You need to find out where Pakistan is being listened to and promote there. But definitely I second making visas easier, not just for religious tourism, but for independent travellers too. And if there's anyone out there with any influence, please look at the online visa system and help make that more effective and easier to use.
Imran Sahab, we live in a mohalla, a comity of nations or a neighborhood. Now, in every mohalla, every makan or a house has a gun for private or self-defense or protection. I believe everyone has that. And the other one thing is everyone has a praying mat, the masalla. Where do you place them? You put your gun in some almirah, lock it or keep it away, and you keep your praying mat in a side room somewhere, your personal thing. And what do? You put paintings, art, culture, greenery, and embellishments to greet your guests. Here is a house who has brought the gun right on the drawing room, and the praying mat and the tasbih and musalla in the drawing room, and shut away all the artwork in the almirah. Your take on this, please.
Trying to get me shot. Is that what it is? Can I have
So
another?
we don't lack the civilization, we don't lack, but if we are not wanting to project it and we bring tanks and missiles on the chowks and churahas of this country, then whom do we blame?
Yeah, you're absolutely
And
right.
shut away our theaters and films. We are a fun-loving people. We have been like that for 5,000 years, God's sake. I'm not trying. We have superimposed something on ourselves which was not there 40 years ago. We need to get that space back of 4,500 years minus these 50 years. Do you see the signs of that?
This is a sign of that. When you bring in academics, monks, peace-loving people from around the world, when the country has decided that we need to start owning up to our old heritage of Gandhara and all the other heritages that exist, I think we are just opening the door, sir, to walk away from just the gun, the musalla, and cutting all the culture out.
I'm saying that is with every country. Every country has much more guns and tanks than we have. But they keep it away. They are much more aggressors and invaders and warmongers than we are. But they bring Michael Jackson in the front. And, and McDonald's in the front. And similarly, every country has their religion. We respect every religion, and everybody has a right to religion. So do we have. But you don't showcase that and wear it on your badge as a show. So that's what we need to soften a bit and supplement it with culture and such occasions. And our let's say, al-hamras should be flourishing. There should be ghazals. The other day, somebody came to me and said, I want to attend the Sufi music. I've heard so good of your Sufi music. Where can I go? And I didn't know what to tell him because there's no regular Sufi music, even in Lahore. And we have a calendar of events is you open the newspaper, is who's going to which court, whose case is in which court. And so there's a musical chair of accusations and cases and a negativity which generated all by ourselves. Why can't we say which places to go and take package tours and attend a concert or ghazal or Sufi music or something?
I think that's a perfect ending statement for this day, and all I can say is, hear, hear, Kamran Saab.
Just to add to your point, I think one thing that we can do is that we do have a tooth relic of Buddha here in Pakistan. And when I was in Sri Lanka, there's a festival that they hold there, I believe, for the tooth relic, and so many people from all over the world attend. And in those days, the hotel rates are really high. And if you're not a Buddhist, then they suggest that you do not visit on those dates because you're going to get charged really high. So I believe that we should also have such a festival. And the way to promote that is that something I saw in Thailand, where I was in 2019, that they held a very specific kind of expo, the kind that I haven't seen at least anywhere else. What they did was that they placed tables all across the hall, and the international tour operators had those tables, and all the local Thai tour operators had 10 to 15 minute slots with the international tour operators. And they used to just exchange notes and discuss packages and exchange contact information, and then and they would move to the next table, and the next tour operator would come to your table. It was like speed dating, but for tourism. And I think the next step, something that you mentioned, that this shouldn't be a one-off thing. I think the next step to this Symposium could be, or in my opinion should be, that such a business-to-business tourism speed dating expo should be held here, where both the private sector in the tourism of countries like Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Korea could come together with the tourism sector of Pakistan, and they will benefit economically from selling packages to Pakistan, and given the super low exchange rate, I think they'll benefit significantly. And obviously us tour operators here in Pakistan will benefit from showing our heritage and culture to them. So I think that would be the logical next step to this Symposium. That's something that I feel.
Okay, let that be last statement,
Yes.
then we'll open the house. For
Sure.
questions.
I would like to just add to it. I believe it's a people initiative. All the public, everyone, they need to create the demand for the art, for the culture, for the openness. They need to do that. And not only they need to do that, but also all these activities. Everyone in the audience, and then we have more than few crore mobiles at the moment. So we need to capture those events. We need to capture our tourism assets, and we need to put them onto a digital platform where the people can see when they search. Whenever they go for Pakistan, they can see that. So we need to flood that, and we need to say no to that weapons and everything, like Kamran Sahab said. So this is people initiative, and we all need to take that initiative right away.
Thank you very much. So before we open up for the question answers, well, these were just hard questions to each other, but the fact remains that this is, as I said, very heartwarming to see a wonderful initiative despite all these factors that we are talking about. And Pakistan is good at self-criticism. I don't know if that much is allowed, and that takes place in countries from where our friends are sitting, but that itself is a great hope in this country, that when we self-criticize, we are looking for answers and we're looking for the right direction. So thank you for the organizers of this to put us on that track where we want to be. For the last 2 years, I see very good signs of Buddhist connectivity emerging and developing with the Gandhara civilization, and hopefully from every year it will add on, and very good luck to you. So anybody for any, is that the format? We are open to the question answers? We have about half an hour for question answers, so feel happy and easy to shoot some questions. And अगर उर्दू में भी करना चाहे तो कोई ऐसी कबाहत नहीं है, please ज़रूर feel free. अच्छा, is there a mic or और जिनसे आप सवाल करना चाहते हैं, प्लीज मेंशन दैट आल्सो.
Hello. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Kamran Lashari Sahab. I'm very grateful, and my first question is to you. मुझे आपके थोड़ा सा जो आपने कैसर साहब को इंटरप्ट किया था या उनको थोड़ा सा कहा था कि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बेसिक प्रॉब्लम नहीं है हमारा लोगों का आने में. देयर आर टू बेसिक प्रॉब्लम्स जो हमारे यहाँ से जो इनकमिंग टूरिस्ट का फ़्लो है वो कम है बिकॉज. और फिर आपने अफ्रीका की मिसाल दी थी कि So that is a hard country. Mostly to Africa, generally the people go for a adventure safaris and hard tourism. उसमें उनको infrastructures की इतनी ज़रूरत नहीं होती because they are hard tourism होता है उसमें. Similarly, हमारे यहाँ पे infrastructure की कमी है, बहुत ज़्यादा कमी है. Let's take गंधारा की बात कर लें. 2005 में 6 में I was involved in the study. We did it. गंधारा के ऊपर एक feasibility study की थी and I was main part of it. उसमें हमने ये identify किया था कि infrastructures में the access to these all precious sites, a very narrow access, you know. And that photographs I still have. I found out from my library yesterday when I was coming in. तो आज मैंने समद साहब से पूछा था, just casual उनसे बात हो रही थी. वो कह रहे थे still there is some problem exist. So problem तो infrastructure की है हमारे पास. It's everywhere, it's not. It's the basic problems.
If I can wrap it up. So your question is regarding the significance of the infrastructure. Of course it is, hotels are very important. The transport system is very important. The roads are very important. And many, many other things. But what I'm saying is that that's not the fundamental reason for people visiting Pakistan as less. You may agree with that. Look at Nepal. Do they have better roads than Pakistan? Look at Sri Lanka. Even India till yesterday. Because their tourism is there for the last 40, 50 years. And their road network was much, I went 15 years ago, was much less than Pakistan, was terrible in fact. Even going from Delhi to Agra. Very
Sir,
simple road.
Can I add it, if you allow me? Okay, so the infrastructure doesn't mean only that the electric pole and road and that. Infrastructure is a combination of various other things. And the hospitality part is also a part of infrastructures. We can say it, we don't see it, but it is felt, it is a part of infrastructure. And our hospitality system, अगर हम overall nation पे जाएं, I'm sorry लोग बाहर के बैठे हुए होंगे, कि बहुत ज़्यादा हम hospitality नहीं है. This is 220 million में से तो 90% जो लोग हैं below par हैं, खाने को पैसे नहीं है, क्या हंस के हम दिखाएंगे?
Sir, I think
this is one part.
if I may just answer that, I think if you're talking specifically about Buddhist tourism, though there is a lot of hospitality available because I've planned tours for it. You can, all you need to do is stay in Peshawar. There are numerous hotels in Peshawar from where all Buddhist sites are easily accessible. And all the other sites are very near to Islamabad. And there are many, many hotels, good hotels in Islamabad, like the one we're sitting in. So, like I said, we're very easy to criticize issues. But I think for what we are here right now, like Kamran Ashari Saab developed the Basant Festival. It was a thing in Lahore that already existed. And all he did was that he just blew it up and it became a national or an international thing. And I remember him telling me that he did a statistical survey and almost 10 million people came to Lahore just for the Basant Festival. So I think as far as Buddhist tourism goes, we have the relevant infrastructure here. It's near to the big cities. We've got motorways. We've got hotels in those big cities from where you can visit those sites. So I don't think we have that problem as far as the Buddhist tourism goes. Thank you.
And we are asking everybody except our Buddhist friends whom we wish to visit. So I hope one of you will also make a comment. How do you look at it? How more and more of your kith and kin can come to Pakistan? So what factors are involved to increase that flow? But you may think about it. I'll come back to you, but let's have a question there. Somebody raising the hand there at the back.
Assalamu alaikum, Mohammad Zaman from Quetta, Pakistan. Sir, मैं थोड़ा सा उर्दू भी बोलूँगा, जहाँ तक अंग्रेजी आती थी तो शायद वो भी बोल how it's possible if we are a responsible nation, mean Pakistan. It is not possible for us that we ignore Gandhara or Buddhism. It's the reality. It's the right of humanity. So I think we should thought about that it is not possible for us that we ignore these isms or religion. What you are saying today?
आप आराम से उर्दू से बात करें।
अच्छा, अब दूसरा बात यह है सर कि अगर हम बेइज्जती एक कौम के जो हम सोच रहे हैं हमारा वो रास्ता आप चेंज करके दे दें। ठीक है, सिम्पोजियम एक स्टार्ट है हमारा, हम ले रहे हैं, लेकिन जो हमें सिखाया जा रहा है, जो हमें फोर्स किया जा रहा है कि आप किस तरह सोचें, तो ये जो सोचने का बाय फोर्स कि आपने ये सोचना है, तो मेरे ये ख्याल है आप जितने भी रिस्पॉन्सिबल लोग हैं स्टेट के, हम पश्तून आपके साथ तैयार है इस बात से, और हम बिल्कुल शायद एक दिन दावा कर लें कि ये चीज़ें तो हैं ही हमारी, आपकी भी हैं, गंधारा आपके ये नज़दीक तरीन जो आपके आसपास पाई जाती हैं, हम आपके साथ हैं, आप स्टार्ट ले लें। क्योंकि एक रिस्पॉन्सिबल नेशन के तहत हमने ये इनिशिएटिव्स तो लेने होंगे, क्योंकि हमने इस दुनिया के साथ तो रहना है, तो बस आप लोगों से यही रिक्वेस्ट।
बहुत शुक्रिया जी। और yes sir, please, I'm interested in your comment because we are trying to diagnose and the patient is sitting there and we are not talking to him. so your comment will be very valuable and we really
sir मैंने लास्ट
एक सेकंड जरा प्लीज, ये हमारे बुद्धिस्ट फ्रेंड जो बाहर से आए हैं उन्होंने एक सवाल करना है, तो उसके बाद आपको बारी देते हैं। Yes, please bring the mic this side.
Thank you, Mr. Ashari.
And we want as frank
Yeah.
comment as we have been frank about.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, talking about how do we promote tourism, as the moderator has said and asked. I guess that I'm in the same page. Tourism is, of course, it brings money, but at the same time, it's bringing a lot of negativity as well. So when we are talking about tourism, we are always looking at only one side. In many places, tourism destroys the value of the original sincerity, the original kind of the value of it. So that's why I think I'm in the same page that tourism doesn't mean that all the facilities, all the modern five-star hotel and so and so. It could be, but what we need is that how do we, as the moderator has said, that how do we make sense for the local themselves first? So we are just
the preservation.
Yeah, preservation, and not only preservation, but at the moment, this is we have the places there. But do the local people surrounding there, do they treasure those sites or not? As you says that. Of course, for me, that site is so good. But if I'm looking around, and let's say that all the people around me are looking at me as a strange person, what you are doing here? So that's a hospitality, that's a kind of sincerity, which shows that you do really respect and sort of keep that heritage. You value your heritage first. And only then the outside people will see the value of it. So don't just rely on other people, the foreigners, to come and value that is a Buddhist side, that is a good Advaita side. We have to go beyond the idea of religion.
Very good.
So you got the sites, which is, I'm saying that why, in my presentation, I said that why you are talking about the Gandhara civilization. But I'm interested, more than Gandhara, is that what is the energy, what is the knowledge, what is the wisdom you got it, so that the Gandhara civilization appear here in this place. So the earlier than the civilization is there. And that is something we have to value. And only then, the facility, all this, the hotel, the roads, that is a very simple, but that is a minute. People will, if you want to, it is really treasures. If you really want, even how much they want to pay, even the visa is how difficult. People will, people are spending a lot of money. I think one of Pakistani went, look at the deep in the sea, isn't it? How much they spend, and they still go, and unfortunately they died. So it's not about the facility, it's about the treasure we got it, and then how we can value that, so every other people can value us at the same time.
These are words of wisdom. Really, we were very, this perspective, we were not as consciously sensitized and looking at it, but so important.
Just one thing to your point. I think what you've noticed and what you've observed is so potent and so important, because with this Sikhs that come in and the ones that we host here, the real hospitality that they feel when they go to their gurdwaras is that the Sikh communities at the gurdwara is, to your point also, is the one who is welcoming them, is serving them the langar. Langar is free food that they serve at the gurdwara. So I think to his point, it wouldn't be that much of a stretch how we've given the custodianship of the gurdwaras to the Sikhs. Maybe we should give the custodianship of the stupas and the religious sites to the Buddhists, because they really understand the energy and the vibe of those places and would probably do a better job at protecting and preserving them.
Well, I have a... Yes, I have a little comment on that. Of course, that is a very, very idealistic ideas, because this is the country that is Islam. And I don't know how many families as a Buddhist here in this country. So how you are going to start that? Because it is not possible at the moment, and feasible at the moment. In future it could be. But at the moment, why you are looking under the lens of Buddhist? Because every stone, the Buddha, the whole idea is not a religion. It's a Buddha means awakening. So as I said, Buddhist vihara, all those things in the Pali is called arama or vihara. Arama means that where you can, we can go to the sanctuary, spiritual sanctuary. If you are getting very frustrated with your family members, if you are getting very frustrated with your business, you are not having your enough customs and all those things, so you don't know what to go, at least when in a state of turmoil, you can go there and then get that spiritual sanctuary, spiritual power from there, beyond religion. So if you are trying to draw the line of religion, this will never happen. Because, as I said, Buddhist is only 500 million. Why your marketing is so small? We have a 7 billions of populations. Why you are not targeting for the bigger? If you are just targeting for Buddhist, we have only 500. Out of 500, how many percentage of them that they can able to come, they can afford to pay? You have a 7 billion of population here who always want a peace, who always want tolerance, who is always in the harmony, who is always in the happiness, and all those things is the story of those things is still there. So why don't, as a Pakistani, as a Muslim, as an indigenous, whatever tribe they are, why don't you come out with not a border of religion, come out with a universal message, and which is already embedded in every rock in your places.
Wonderful, very nice. Yes, Ruth, you want to say something, then I'll go to that lady there in the yellow, but please.
Thank you. I just wanted to come in here because I think it's a very interesting point that you're both making, and the idea of community being responsible for a site. It doesn't actually have to be a direct ethnic or religious community that's linked to a site, but I definitely think having a community involvement is very important. But what you're talking about also raises some other issues around heritage and archaeological sites, and that's about competing values. And I think if you have an archaeological site that is a heritage site, you may have visitors from so many different backgrounds. You may have visitors who are part of religious pilgrimage. We know that many archaeological and heritage sites are living sites for many, many pilgrims of different faiths, including Buddhist sites. and Sikh sites. But then you also have people coming from different backgrounds. You have domestic tourists, you have international tourists, you have local communities who may value a site very differently to a pilgrimage group. So you have to actually manage that as part of managing a site. And that is actually a really complex thing for anyone who was involved in heritage and archaeological site management will tell you. But these points are really important to keep in mind, I think. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, please.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। आज जब मैं सिम्पोजियम में शिरकत के लिए आई तो रजिस्ट्रेशन पे मुझसे पहले कहा गया कि आप अपना CNIC दिखाएं। तो मेरा जो जवाब था वो ये था कि आई एम फ्रॉम द हार्ट ऑफ गंधारा सिविलाइजेशन टेक्सला। तो उसके बाद फिर उन्होंने कहा कि मुस्कुरा दी और उन्होंने कहा कि ठीक है आप जा सकती हैं। मेरा नाम सारा महमूद है और मैं टेक्सला को प्रेजेंट कर रही हूँ और बेसिकली गंधारा रिसोर्स सेंटर है हमारा जो एक प्लेटफॉर्म है टेक्सला में गंधारा रिसोर्स सेंटर पाकिस्तान के नाम से उसके प्लेटफॉर्म से प्रेजेंट कर रही हूँ अपने आप को और अपनी टीम को। मेरा लाशारी साहब से भी अभी थोड़ी देर पहले मेरी बात हुई है इस पॉइंट पे और बहुत अरसे से इस चीज़ को मैं लेके चल रही हूँ। डिफरेंट लोगों के साथ मैंने इस पे बात की और फाइनली गंधारा रिसोर्स सेंटर के जो प्लेटफॉर्म मिला तो उस पर ये चीज़ें एक्सप्रेस करने का और इसको प्रैक्टिकली कोई शेप देने का मौका मिला। तो बात अभी यहाँ पे हो रही है कि गंधारा के हवाले से, टूरिज़म के हवाले से, रिलीजियस टूरिज़म के हवाले से, हेरिटेज प्रिजर्वेशन के हवाले से। तो मेरा पॉइंट सिर्फ़ और सिर्फ एक ये है कि जब तक हम इन तमाम इंटरवेंशंस को हम कम्युनिटी बेस्ड इंटरवेंशंस नहीं बनाएंगे तो हम इसकी लॉन्ग टर्म जो है ना तो हम प्लानिंग कर सकते हैं और ना ही हम प्रिजर्वेशन कर सकते हैं। अभी तक जो इनपुट्स थे वो लोकल लोगों के जो जितना हो सका या जितने लोकल प्लेटफॉर्म्स थे उनसे एफर्ट्स होती रहीं लेकिन अभी तक जो रियलाइजेशन आ सकी है वो सिर्फ इस हद तक है कि येस गंधारा इज़ समथिंग टू एक्सप्लोर और इस हद तक रियलाइजेशन आ सकी है कि येस गंधारा इज़ समथिंग के जिसमें हमें बेतहाशा पोटेंशियल है और उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा काम कर सकते हैं। और स्पेसिफ़िकली मैं टेक्सला के हवाले से बात करूँगी कि टेक्सला एक गंधारा सिविलाइजेशन का सेंटर तो है ही है लेकिन उसके साथ साथ अगर टेक्सला का नेचुरल लैंडस्केप देखा जाए तो जो 70s 80s में जो उसका लैंडस्केप था वो टोटली एक चेंज हो चुका है और उसके साथ साथ
थोड़ा इसको अब आप
जी ब्रीफ कर रही
वाइंड अप कीजिएगा।
और जो फाइनल मेरा पॉइंट है वो ये है कि जो हमारा स्टोन आर्टिसंस हैं, स्टोन आर्टिसंस आर सिटिंग सिंस एजेस अलोंग रोड साइड। तो मेरा लाशारी साहब से भी यही रिक्वेस्ट थी और आप सब से भी है कि जब तक हम लोकल कम्युनिटी को हर उसमें इंटरवेंशन में इंगेज नहीं करेंगे तो हम इसको लॉन्ग टर्म लेके हम उसकी प्रिजर्वेशन के लिए चल नहीं सकते। टूरिज़म के हवाले से, स्टोन आर्टिसंस के हवाले से विलेज है जहाँ पे हम उसको मॉडल विलेज के तौर पे ले सकते हैं, जैसे सैदपुर विलेज जहाँ पे बनाया गया है, ढिबिया विलेज है 1.5 किलो जो कि सारी की सारी कम्युनिटी है वहाँ पे स्टोन आर्ट कम्युनिटी है।
Thank you. I think a very good point and it relates and connects with the Reverend Monk who just mentioned those and So she's also talking about the community and the surroundings, that they should also be part of the entire project, and it's not only one particular statues or stupas, but there are living people around it. So they also need to blend with that, their artistry, their artisans, so make that also part of your project. Now, for instance, I give you just an example. Not that it was conceptualized by me, I may not have done it, people wiser and saner than me. The project that we have done in the walled city of Lahore is what you're saying.
Yes.
You see, the main purpose was to protect the heritage of the walled city of Lahore. But the approach was different. The approach was that first we have to benefit the communities there so that they own up the Shahi Hammam and Masjid Wazir Khan. Otherwise, it would look that yes, people from this part of the city come, they look at it and they enjoy it and they go back. You will make it just a showcase while there are people living all around it. So we started with the project by some people wiser than me, doing the infrastructure of that place, giving a new infrastructure, embellishing their houses, giving them new sewerage, drainage, and open drains. But now there is much bigger acceptance of the heritage of that area. So that has to be done, I think so. Ji, please.
You. ये सर मैंने ये लास्ट ईयर जो कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई दो सजेशंस हैं। एक तो इस पूरे को हमें शूट करना है और पूरी इसकी हर साइड को अलग से डॉक्यूमेंट्री बना के इसको पूरी दुनिया के सामने हमें रखना है। कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई लास्ट ईयर भी, अब भी हुई, अच्छी चीज़ें हैं। और दूसरी चीज़ जो है इसका जो बिजनेस मॉडल है, जिस तरह वो सर ने बात की, जितने ऐसे ट्रैवल एंड टूर के काम करने वाले लोग हैं जो ऐसा इनिशिएटिव लेना चाहते हैं, उस मार्च वाली लास्ट ईयर वाली कॉन्फ्रेंस और ये वाली, इन दोनों के दरमियान कहीं उन लोगों को बिठाना या उन लोगों से इंटरेक्शन करना कि वो इसका बिजनेस मॉडल लेकर आए। जब तक वो इसका बिजनेस मॉडल हम उनके सामने नहीं रखेंगे तो ये इंडस्ट्री की तरह उठेगा नहीं। हमने इस पर पेपर भी पढ़े हैं, कॉन्फ्रेंसेस भी की हैं, लेकिन अगर इसका बिजनेस मॉडल लॉन्च किया जाए, आप चूँकि खुद भी आर्कियोलॉजी और कल्चर लवर आदमी हैं, तो गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल्स को चाहिए कि वो इसका बिजनेस मॉडल लाएं। और जो टूरिज्म इंडस्ट्री है, 18 अमेंडमेंट के बाद जिस तरह इसको KPK को अलग और इसको प्रोविंशियल लेवल पे कर दिया गया है, तो वो ट्रैवल एजेंट्स को इकट्ठा करके उनको इस बात पे लाया जाए तो ये इंडस्ट्री फिर उठेगी, बुद्धा टूरिज्म की भी और रिलीजियस टूरिज्म की भी।
चलें, गुड जी। आई एम श्योर समबडी इज टेकिंग नोट्स। यू वांटिंग टू से समथिंग? इधर दीजिए माइक इनको। सो ये एक मास्टर प्लान उस पूरे एरिया का बनाना, कम्युनिटी को बीच में शामिल करना, पार्टिसिपेट करना, और जैसे आपने भी अभी
यार ये माइक को फ्रंट पे ले आए प्लीज, माइक को फ्रंट पे ले आए इधर प्लीज।
इधर दीजिए जी, हमारे मेहमान जो है वो कुछ कहना।
हेलो। मीनवाइल जो माइक आ रहा है तो आप कीजिए, डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज आर बीइंग टेकन केयर ऑफ इंशाल्लाह बाय डिस्कवर पाकिस्तान।
इधर बेटा, इधर।
I think our foreign affair need to do something. I think Pakistan have a lot of the, ambassador. So please ask the ambassador, embassy try to help, promote the culture of our Pakistan, including our Gandhara. Second, ask all our monks and nuns all the world, try to promote. We are able to become like peace embassy. How to say that? We can try to help. Yeah, please invite us, becomes one of the members to promote this peace and culture. Third, I think the mango is a very important issue. You know why? All the world know the mango, the Pakistan mango now is a three months period. Please promote all the world, Southeast Asia, the American, anywhere, please promote it. I think it's very important. Okay, and then don't forget the media. I think ask the media, television, and something like in our website to promote more and more and more. Okay, I think with unity of the power of peace, we can do something. But please continue to invite us to come and continue to do something for our Pakistan. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So we still have 5 to 10 minutes. Ji, please.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Jawad, and I have the question from respected moderator. You mentioned in your you specifically mentioned about the presence of that Quran, Jai Namaz, the praying mat, and the presence of gun. So don't you think so that the crux of our gathering here and the meaning of or the symposium was to booster up the you can say tourism and the mention of the guns, and that antiquated say normistic approach was not needed, and it would kind of imply a negative response on foreigners. So don't you think so that should have been avoided?
I think that's exactly what I was trying to imply, that to make a positive impact or action or perception, to correct our ways before expecting the foreigners to look at us differently. if you're chalk and churahas, you go to Bahawalpur, there's this huge Fawara chalk of the, 100 years old, the best Fawara in Pakistan. Chalk. So, मतलब मैं इस बात क्योंकि एक सेंसिटिव इशू है बहुत आगे नहीं जाना चाहता लेकिन you don't have to bring it out in the open such subjects. रोड किस नाम से है, चौक चौराहे पे क्या लिखा हुआ है, ये क्या दूसरे लोग अपने रिलीजन को प्रोटेक्ट नहीं करते? लेकिन हम तो पूरी दुनिया घूमते हैं, हमें तो कहीं कोई ऐसा मसला ना बंदूक का नज़र आया है, ना मसले का नज़र आया है. ये आपके अपने हैं, इनको दिल से लगाएं, इनसे एहतराम करें. हम भी उतने ही मुसलमान हैं, हमसे पहले हमारे माँ बाप हमसे ज़्यादा अच्छे मुसलमान थे, आज कोई नया सिलसिला. So anyways, we'll wind it up and okay, the last question here.
Yes, no. Yeah, this is just a comment rather than a question. Partly question also. Well, we are thinking of bringing people to Gandhara as a tourist in a business plan. So what do we have in Gandhara to attract people? I think this is a question we have to reflect on. Many of us who have joined in this symposium, we are connected with Gandhara in terms of religious affiliation, in terms of our previous knowledge and our wish to be associated with Gandhara. Otherwise, why we would be here? Similarly, when we are talking about tourists, why would tourists come to Gandhara? That part we have to really seriously think. If it is a celebration widely publicized, as you have mentioned in the case of Tooth ceremony in Sri Lanka. In Nepal, we have so many ceremonies which are now publicized, and they are attracting tourism. So, what kind of celebration, Gandhara, you are planning to attract people? This is one point I really for our thinking. Economy. Economy is, well, but I know economy is connected with the value. The jewel, it has value. We have valued. Otherwise, it is a. So is Gandhara. Gandhara is there. It's a clay. It's a relics. Those things. Who cares? Unless and until you put value. How do you put the value to Gandhara is very important. So you have to bring the stories, the celebration, and for that you need people. So who is going to create those stories? Who is going to create those celebrations? That is very important part. Partly you have pointed out that maybe it is the Buddhist community who should come up for the ownership. But then you all again put up the question, where is this Buddhist community in Pakistan right now? I think there is a big question. Maybe we should bring Buddhist people from all over the world who is willing to celebrate coming to Gandhara to particular point. And even for that, we have to make an event. We have to make story. We have to make story. That is very important part, I think. Thank you very much.
Very good. Very good. So we are going to wind up this session. And my closing remark would be that while we value our...
Excuse me.
Yes, please.
Sorry for the interruption. This is Mohammed Sohail from Victoria University of Lincoln.
We can talk just after the session, one-on-one, but unless you have something very pressing to... Ji.
Phrase you have written over there, pathway to the peace. I just want to say that in order to get a peaceful society, a tolerant society, we must bring the concept of negative and the positive peace. That is what we're missing, and that is what we are lacking behind, because there is the structural violence inside Pakistan, as you has mentioned before, and the guy sitting over there mentioning the musalla and the gun over there. There is no correlationship between those things. In order to have, or in order to promote the tourism, first we need to build a coherent and multi-religious and tolerant society, because recently I have been in F8 Jamia Mosque over there, and I said the Friday prayer over there, and the prayer leader after the Jummah prayer said that may God bless the Taliban leaders in Afghanistan, and may we have the same sort of Islamic government in Pakistan. So if you cannot address those sort of issues inside Islamabad, how can you address a person sitting in Pishin, Turbat, Gwadar or Balochistan that he will welcome or she will welcome a tourist, a Buddhist tourist in their vicinity? Thank you.
Good. So we have to reorient, reinvent. In fact, we have to over 5,000 years of age, which is not confined to one religion or one set of culture. It has been always a multifaceted, rich, diverse civilization and layers of civilization, and we need to own them up. If sometimes we are lost in history and we think our history began with 712, somebody thinks it's from 1857, somebody thinks it's 1080, but the history and the culture are region bound. They're not religion bound. So we need to own up, and I'm very glad that this point has been brought up. We have to own up the Gandhara civilization, not the Buddhists only. In fact, we are today the custodians, not them. We are the guardians, and we have to take care of it and blend everybody, the whole world and the Gandhara and ourselves in this triangular relationship. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, with this we come to the end of the first day of Gandhara Symposium conference. I thank you all for your time and patience. I also extend warm appreciation to all the moderators and speakers for sharing their experience with us. Please join me in a round of applause for all the participants. Thank you for being part of the conference, and join us for tea served at the back.